All right, welcome, kings and queens. We're back, y'all. We're talking the Real Housewives of Potomac, season 9, episode 4. Y'all, I told you, listen, I'm going to say it every time I come here. To me, this has been the best season thus far. I like the mix of the ladies. I like the newbies. I like the OGs. I ain't going to say the old. I like everything about it. Bravo, you just may have gotten this one right. Y'all, if you're not watching it, it's good. It's giving great reality television. This is the right swirl from the age ranges. You got, I think, do we have any 20-year? Well, okay, 30s all the way up to the 50s. You got married, you got single, you got situationships, you got it's complicated. We got divorcees. Y'all, this is the right mix. Do you feel like Bravo, Andy, kudos to you. Do you feel like Bravo has found the right recipe as it relates to the ladies, their backgrounds, their personalities, their careers, everything, and how they show up on camera? What are your thoughts about that? The other thing I want to say, I know people, well, Mia started that. Mia started the notion that Stacey is boring. I don't think she's boring. I don't think Stacey is boring. Everybody don't have to be all out there like that, Mia. Everybody doesn't go as far as you go to get camera time. I don't think she's boring. I think she's a great addition. I think we need women like Stacey. Now, we don't need a whole room full of them. We don't need a whole cast full of them because that is boring. But you need a Stacey in a group of these women. She's reasonable. She brings a little bit of balance. She can neutralize moments. She got common sense. She know how to act. We don't need every Black woman to be a damn fool on camera. So I like what she's bringing to the table. And if you're listening to me, Andy, do not touch her. Do not touch her. Let her stay. Hell, we need to see some balanced Black women on camera. NECA was a good pick to me. NECA was an excellent pick to me, but y'all let Wendy run her off last season. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Somehow she became public enemy number one because Wendy said so. And really, it was Ashley. It was Ashley that came after you, Wendy. But NECA caught a stray. I said what I said. Listen, NECA caught a stray, but that's okay. At the end of the day, when I think about it, I like what we got here. What are your thoughts? I want to talk about this episode. Let's jump in. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
Okay, we're jumping in. This, I think, let me calm down. Listen, I'm so excited to talk about it, but I think this episode was a turning of the tide. This episode, they should have called it The Great Divide. The Great Divide. I know they said bunk beds, but the ladies actually handled that bunk bed situation with class. Now, that's how you go on a girls' trip. You see what I'm saying? That's how you do a girls' trip. Love and Marriage Huntsville. Those girls took it in stride, and Stacy came in with some sophistication in class, a little lightheartedness, and because of her response, Kiara was more open and receptive, and said, "You know what? Because she's open, let me change my attitude." You see the power of that Black girl magic? What can happen when Black women come together and we make the most of a situation? We make the most of a situation and you see what you want to see. Some people see a problem while other people see an opportunity. And to Stacy, when she learned that she had been issued bunk bed, she said, "Oh, this is great. I've always wanted to sleep in a bunk bed." Now, I don't know if that's the case or not, but the point is, she didn't let Mia see her sweat. So I loved it. And because of her attitude, it shifted the attitude in the room from Kiara. So they're making the best of the situation. They're not going to allow a room assignment to ruin their trip. I love it. I love women like that. So you know what? I'm here to have a good time, baby. I'm here to have a good time. So I love that they were able to jump in and just think about the well-being of the show and let's go. But they should have named this show The Great Divide because this is where I think you're going to have the newbies versus the OGs. You got Kiara, you got Stacy, what's that lady's name? Jacqueline. The other girl, I don't know where I'm going to put her right now. The other girl. Mia's other friend. We're going to keep her in the middle. And then you got Karen as an OG, you got Giselle as an OG, you have Ashley. This is going to be very, very interesting. Wendy, I don't know where I'm going to put her. I'm not going to put her in the middle. I'm going to put her on the outer edges. I'm not going to put her in the middle yet because she likes to poke with Giselle. Okay. So I'm not sure where to put Wendy or how she's going to show up later in the season. But this is the great divide. I can see it coming a mile away and I love it. I'm here for it. I think it's going to be excellent. Every woman, most of them have been able to hold their own. Most of them have been able to hold their own. And I love it. But I see what's happening here. In this episode, they are building up the temple. They're building up, creating the surge to come after Karen. They're going to hone in on that DUI, that drunk driving incident that she had. And I think that's okay. I think where you go wrong, production, and where you could possibly go wrong is if they continue to harp on it and beat it like a dead horse, which is what Mia is trying to do. Karen, be careful. Mia may have an issue with you. She wants to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. Now, I think Mia is trying to produce from a production standpoint. Production, they can ask you to ask people things to get the conversation going and the drama flowing. Mia seems to be a willing participant. I'll do it to the point that it can become offensive and mm, a little bit of, you don't want to harass the lady about it. And if Stacy can come in and say, okay, this is getting old, it seems like you're the target, pull back a little bit, Mia. You want to do it too bad. You want to be on television too bad, okay? So I love the way that Karen handed Jacqueline her ass. She handed her ass to her because Jacqueline, you attempted to stir the pot. You don't know for a fact if she was drinking. And what you did at that messy brunch is you said, Karen called me under the influence. And then later in this episode, you said, well, it sounded like you were. So, and what? You don't know that for a fact. But what is it that you're wanting to happen from that? What is it that you're trying to do? Ruin her name, her reputation? You don't have to do that. You're the new girl on the block. Sit back, relax. Create your own storyline. What you and Mia got going on, by the way. So, Jacqueline, you set the stage for Karen to react and respond to you. And I'm glad Karen let you know. Don't play with me like that. Some people, do you feel like Karen's reaction to Jacqueline was a bit harsh at the table? I don't. But do you feel like it was a bit harsh that Karen should have taken it more in stride and just kind of leave Jacqueline alone? You're hurting her feelings. I think Karen set some really hardcore boundaries in order to gain control of the narrative and the dialogue. I think it was necessary because otherwise, people like that, if you don't check them now, they continue on and on and on and on, and it can get worse. And you just pulled up. Karen's an OG. Girl, sit down somewhere. And I think that's the energy that Karen was coming with. Like, listen, you can try me if you want. You can let Mia pump you up if you want, but don't get it twisted. There will be repercussions because I will lay you and slay you in front of all of these people. And it may not be today. It may not be in real time. It may not be tomorrow. But when I come for you, you gonna feel it. And I feel like Jacqueline felt that. Yeah, you better think twice. And I love how Karen, her situation is with the law. Her situation is being handled by the court system. That ain't got shit to do with Jacqueline. Know when to insert yourself and know when not to. So, what Mia did at the end in order to get back at Karen, Mia and Jacqueline set the scene to ambush Karen yet again. They invite people over, they have a good dinner. Let me ask y'all something. What production? What are we doing? Why are all Mia's friends being featured? What are we trying to do with this? Because Mia's really in there. Mia's in there. The numbers are in her favor. She got her friends and a lot of scenes. They're coming. So what are we trying to do, Bravo, Andy? What's your vision? Where are you headed with this? Because it doesn't go unnoticed. All right. So Mia brings all of her friends, and one of them, she said, helped her to plan the event. I get that, the invite. She brings another friend, dark skinned girl, hair pulled back. At the end, Mia said, I have a secret. I have something I want to share. There was a time me, Karen, and my friend went out. We had some drinks. We had a good time. At the end of the night, Karen left us and accidentally butt dialed us. And girl, we heard you say, those girls stink. I'm with Ray. Okay. And maybe she didn't want to hang out with y'all no more. Maybe she wanted to go hang out with her other friends. And that ain't no tea. Unless you heard a man saying, oh, really, baby? Oh, yeah, baby. Or whatever. That ain't no tea. She could have been talking to anybody. She could have just been on her way home. And where you going with it? Where are we going with it? Because I'm not at episode 5. And okay. Mia, focus on your own entanglement. Focus on how you are emotionally manipulating. What's his name? Gordon. I think Mia is a little narc. I think she's a female narcissist. She's abusing Gordon, in my opinion. Now that he doesn't have money, she's abusing him emotionally by putting him in those situations under the pretense of the children needs their father. Mia is playing a very nasty and unnecessary game. She's taking advantage of that man in his old age. She's getting her lick back for him going broke. If we flip the script, and if it were a man doing it to a woman, we would have more of a reaction as women. Let me tell you something, Mia, audience, those of you that are tuned in. Mia's playing a dangerous game because if that man snaps, then what? Stop playing with the men like that. If you don't want him, let him go. Stop putting him in the room with the guy that you were screwing. That's not very ladylike, Mia. But I mean, I'm just saying that's not very ladylike. You can still do you without being sloppy, without being reckless and disrespectful. Okay. That's all I'm saying. It's giving narcissistic vibes. That's what it's giving, girl. You're out of control. Okay. Now let's back up. I think Ashley looks so beautiful on the boat. Ashley is stunning to me. Childish, but stunning. There are moments Ashley's just I think on the boat she was drop dead gorgeous. The way she had her hair pulled back, very beautiful woman. I really need her to step up in the maturity level on the show because I think if she stepped up a little bit, she would give the other women a run. She could give the other women a run for their money. I need her to handle her business with this rich white man. Girl, because the way he finessed you, yeah, you need to be more focused on that. So listen, Giselle, I'm loving Giselle this season. I know y'all are saying, oh, it's because Robin's not here. Don't matter to me. I'm loving the way she's showing up as a grown ass woman, the conversation she's having. I just like it. I like it a lot. I think she's done a great job with her children. What are your thoughts? She had to leave and then come back. But what are your thoughts on how she's managing her life on the show and her role as a single mother, a divorced woman, and how she's carrying the ball without her sidekick, Robin? What are your thoughts about that? Now, last but not least, thank you all for hanging in there with me. Kiara, girl, what are we doing? Listen, keep your eye on Kiara because that same energy, that explosive energy, in my opinion, is what got you in that fight. I'm not saying that she started it. That's not what I'm saying. But that same reaction, catastrophic reaction, explosive action is what can get a fight going. It was not that serious. It was not that serious. Why is it a problem for her to ask you about your scar on reality television? Okay. It's what, a year later? Ashley said she couldn't see it. It's a simple question. It doesn't require, in my opinion, I don't know. You can still be triggered and say, hey, that's a sensitive topic for me without doing all of that. I don't know, Kiara. now you've got me. Now Kiara has caused me to focus on her and say, what's really going on with you? What's really going on with you? I'm gonna start watching you, and not from a bad way, because that was a very explosive emotional reaction to a simple question. Even if it were triggering, you don't have to be that emotional about it. And so now I'm curious, and I want to know, what are your thoughts on the women? What are your thoughts on Stacy? What are your thoughts on Kiara? What are your thoughts on the OGs versus the newbies? Who's your number one? Who's your fan fave? Who's your least favorite? What do you think about this episode? Let's take it to the chat.